Thank you next. Thank you next. Welcome back to another Celebrity Sweets. I'm Ethan, and a couple weeks ago, Ariana Grande released her newest single, Thank You Next, and it came after the split with her and Pete Davidson. And I think it's a very fresh take on that stereotypical breakup song. Because in turn, she's thanking all of her exes, and she's happy for them. She says some other words in there too, but... So today, inspired by Thank You Next, we're going to be making some sugar cookie sandwiches. It's going to be 2 sugar cookies filled with some buttercream frosting and some chocolate chips, and then we're going to pipe on some notes that say Thank You Next in a bunch of different fonts. The ingredients for this recipe are 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, half a cup of granulated sugar, 12 tablespoons of butter, 1 large egg, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. You'll also need some lavender royal icing, some dark pink buttercream frosting fitted with a number 5 tip, some black royal icing fitted with a number 1 tip, white chocolate chips, and some white and lavender food coloring. The first thing we want to do is, in a small bowl, combine all of your dry ingredients. That will be your flour, baking powder, and baking soda. So I've set our dry ingredients off to the side, and now in a large bowl we are going to cream together our butter and sugar on high speed for about 1 minute or until completely smooth. Once your butter and sugar is creamed together, then we can add in our egg and vanilla extract and mix it up. After you've mixed together all of your wet ingredients, now we can add in our dry. Add in half of the dry, mix it up, the other half of the dry, and mix it up. So our cookie dough has come together, and I've just divided it in half and put it in 2 separate bowls. And that's because we are actually going to turn this into a marbled sugar cookie. So over here I've got our violet food coloring and our white food coloring over here, and we're just going to mix a few drops of it into the cookie dough until we get our desired color. So we've dyed our cookie dough batters the lavender color, and then we just put a little bit of white food coloring into our standard base, just because the white will kind of come out in the oven, and it also gives it a more smooth consistency. And these cookies are actually a no-chill cookie, so we can get straight into rolling them out, but we do want to marble them. So now what we want to do is flour our surface and the top of the cookie dough and roll our cookies about 1/4 of an inch thick. It's also important that you rotate the cookie dough after every roll you make. This makes sure that the marble pattern will stay in your cookies. So our cookie dough is rolled out, and now we can cut out our cookies. When I was rolling this, I realized that this kind of looks like Ariana Grande in like the God Is a Woman music video. So if you happen to have an Ariana Grande cookie cutter laying around somewhere, feel free to cut out some Ariana Grandes as well. But for this recipe, we are just going to be using a rectangle cookie cutter. Again, remember, you'll be needing 2 cookies for each cookie sandwich that we make. So our cookies are all cut out, and I placed them onto a non-stick baking sheet. And this recipe makes about 12 cookies or 6 cookie sandwiches. But now I want to pop these into the oven at 375 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes. So our cookies are out of the oven, and immediately when they came out, I took our rectangle cookie cutter and cut the shape again. This is because these cookies have a tendency to kind of flatten out and spread out when baking, and I want to make sure that all of our cookie sandwiches are the same size. Then I let them cool for 10 minutes, and now it's time to decorate them. We're going to start with the top layer of our sandwich. This is going to be the one with our royal icing that's going to have a Thank You Next in one of the fonts, just like this single art. Start by taking your lavender royal icing and pipe a border around all of your cookies. Then take your royal icing and fill in that border. Once that royal icing has set, pipe on some Thank You Next texts in many different fonts, and then choose what media outlet you want to put on the bottom corner. So we just finished piping our Thank You Next texts, that's hard to say, onto half of our cookies, and now we can start to assemble these. And what we're going to do is start by taking our pink buttercream frosting and piping some dollops all around the cookie. Then sprinkle on some white chocolate chips. And then add on the Thank You Next cookie that we just made right on top. And here we have them, our Ariana Grande Thank You Next inspired treats that we made today. We made marbled cookie sandwiches that we filled with buttercream and chocolate chips. And then we piped on the words "Thank you next," which looks just like the single art. These cookies are super fun to make and super creative. You can fill them with whatever you'd like and pipe on whatever messages you'd like on top. If you do happen to make these, please share them with me on Instagram or Twitter. Also, if you know someone who likes the song Thank You Next or Ariana Grande, please share this video with them. New videos come out every Thursday, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Also, if you have any other requests for another Celebrity Sweets, please leave them down in the comments below. Until next time, savor life and make it sweet. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.